Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. In this lesson in the Islamic belief series, we'll be talking about the belief in the books. Now, as Muslims, we are required to believe in all the books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down. And some of them have been sent by name, and some of them we don't know of the names. But we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed books with some of His messengers. And those messengers were laws sent down to their people at their time. Now, we have some by name. We have the Tawrat, the Zabur, the Injil, and the Suhuf. Now, those that are mentioned by name, we are required to have complete faith in them. We're not to deny them. And those laws were legislations that were sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completely perfect at their time when they were sent. Meaning the time that the Torah, the Zabur, the Injil, and the Suhuf were sent, they were the complete message. But later on, the messages were distorted, changed, and went missing, so that those messages were no longer complete. Then we believe in the final message that was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. The Quran was the final book sent to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we believe in the Torah sent to Musa, we believe in the Injil sent to Isa alayhi salam, we believe in the Zabur sent to وَأَتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ زَبُورًا. We mentioned Dawood alayhi salam, and then we have the Suhuf Ibrahim, to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So we know that these four by name were mentioned, and there are others that we are not aware of the names, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best about them. But those books all contain the message of La ilaha illallah, and also specific laws that were specific to their people and were applicable to their time. But now those messages no longer hold any law in our time. Some things that match with the Quran and Sunnah, then we say that is from Allah. And those things that do not match from the Quran and Sunnah, we say that is not from Allah. So meaning those messages that match with the Quran and Sunnah to this day, then we say those things are from the law of Allah. And those parts of those law that does not match with the Quran and Sunnah today, we say those are not from the law of Allah that match with the current law of Allah today. So we don't accept them. We accept only that which is revealed in the Quran. So those messages at that time was the correct message. When the messenger was sent with the message, it was the correct message. It was the complete message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But no longer is it the same message today, because as we said, they have changed and they are no longer in the same original form that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed them in. So that's why the Quran now, which is the final message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sent by Jibreel alayhi salam, which is, we have to believe that the Quran is the final message. And we believe the Quran is preserved, it is protected, it is unchanged. So we believe in these points. We believe the Quran is the final law and legislation to the whole of humankind. There is no changes in it. It is perfect, in perfect condition. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed we revealed this dhikr, the Quran, and indeed we will preserve it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this himself, that Allah will guard the Quran from any corruption and any changes. Now also alongside this issue of the Quran, we have to mention something very important. We believe that the Quran is the spoken word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning it is the speech of Allah. It is the spoken word of Allah, and it's uncreated. Why do we say uncreated? This is an issue that may cause confusion for people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that the Quran is His spoken word. It is from Allah. It is His spoken word that was spoken to Jibreel alayhi salam, which was then passed to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly. This means the Quran that is recited on our tongues, the words that the tilawah of the Quran that we listen to, the Quran that we are reading in the mushafs, these Arabic words that we are listening and reading and hearing are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are uncreated, perfect, from the Lord of the heavens and the earth. So if we say that the words of Allah are created, that means we are saying that the Creator Himself is created, which is unthinkable and unacceptable. It is disbelief to say that, right? So we have to say with a clear message to those people that believe in the Quran, we have to believe it's uncreated. It is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the speech of Allah, and it's uncreated. So this is a part of that belief. And again, this is a detailed discussion in the issue of Al-Aqeedah. A person is required to study this in detail. But what we are mentioning is a brief summary of this. So, just to finish off on the Quran, we believe the revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, it is preserved, protected, and is unchanged forever. It will never be changed. As Allah said, He will guard it. And this means that we are required to follow it, obey it, make our lives based upon it. And we must love all the things that are mentioned in it and not have any negativity or hatred towards it. We're supposed to love everything in the Quran as is perfect from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a brief summary of the belief in the books. As we mentioned, some of them mentioned by name, some of them not. The previous messages that were sent, the books that were sent before, are not in the original condition, so we don't follow them now. But at that time of the messenger, where they were sent, they were the original messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the message of La ilaha illallah, and as well as that, they also had the laws that were followed at that time. But as we said, now those are all abrogated, they are all nasikh, they are not, they are mansukh, and they are not to be followed. And we are now following the Quran, which is the final law, final revelation from Allah. And it has come muhaymin alayhim, and muhaymin alayh. It is superseding all those previous messages. So the Quran is now the final message. We are obligated, we must follow it, and we must believe in it to be the final message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His mercy upon us to send us the Quran as a message where we recite and our hearts are feeling better through it, and also to follow it we are guided, and from following it we are saved, and from following it we are truly happy, because those that obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always be happy, and those that disobey Him will always be miserable. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us follow the Quran, and we ask Allah to make these reminders beneficial. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.